Hey, this is Don W6GPS, and I'm going to give you another episode on working the world with your Kenwood TH D74 DSTAR radio. So here's my Kenwood radio, and our episode today is programming your radio for a DVAP using the DR mode. So I'm not going to show you how to hook up everything. Make sure you got your radio already programmed with your call sign. Get yourself a DVAP. I've got a 220 version. Robin just came out with a DVAP. Make sure you got that. A little inexpensive computer. Make sure your DVAP is working on your inexpensive computer. This is a Dell 24P or P24. Very, very inexpensive. I've uninstalled all the programs I don't need, and also I've turned off all the power save features. And the nice thing about this is I can hook this thing up. I've got it programmed so when I close the lid, the LCD goes out, and I can work almost 12 hours without a charge with this little Dell netbook. Now, sometimes if I'm not at a Wi-Fi location, I'm using a portable Wi-Fi, and what I recommend is the Verizon Jetpack mobile hotspot. And I've also gone in there and I've turned off all the power saving features, and you can get this running for about 6 or 7 hours on a single charge. Okay, so that's my introduction, and basically what the DR mode is. The DR mode is you don't have to program a bunch of memory channels up here, but you can actually go in here in the radio and select hotspots. So that's what it's all about. I've got that set at hotspots and DVAP. So let me break away to the other location and we'll get yourself started. So just to reiterate, you want to have a working computer with a DVAP already going, and I'll just give you a little close-up here what this DR mode is. So I can go right in here to repeater list, and what I've programmed is hotspots, a DVAP, and a 220 DVAP, and it sends it to my DVAP frequency. Now, what I can do now is I can go in here to reflector. I can link to a reflector, let's say 30 Charlie. And now I can go to reflector and use reflector. And that's what the great beauty is about the DR mode. Let's just say I want to go into find nearest repeaters. I've got a GPS fix, and I can go right to W4PL, my local repeater. But today's demonstration is on DVAP hotspots, so I programmed DVAP. I've got a 220 and a 440. I want to use a 220 for this demonstration, and you can see that it's already linked to 30 Charlie. So, what's the first thing you have to do? Let's move aside this setup right here, and we'll go to my PC for doing some downloads. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to www.dstarinfo.com, and we're going to select repeater list downloads for the DR mode right here, and I'm going to scroll down here, put in my location, Chattanooga. Look up location and select radio. I'm selecting an A for the US market, E's for the Europe market, and then I'm going to download. So I'm downloading. I'm going to do it save as, and on my desktop, and it's a KRAM TH D74, and I've already downloaded it once, but I'm going to go ahead and just override it. Okay, once I exit that, I go There's my file that I just downloaded. Make sure you've downloaded the MCP D74 and all the associated drivers. But for this demonstration, we're going to do this without even hooking it up to the radio. So I'm open up the MCP program. And what we're going to do is we're going to import repeater list from file. And it gives you a warning. I go to my desktop, and that file that I just loaded from dstarinfo.com, I'm going to import it, and I'm going to import it for the American market. And it takes a second for this to open up. Hopefully we can get a good video here. Now, what I want to do is I want to go at the end of the list, and I'm just going to go right here and I'm going to delete a couple of these. So do a right click, delete, 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 delete. Now, here's the thing where people have to understand is to get that DVAP and hotspot, you're going to have to go in here and edit the area. Okay? And what they've done at dstarinfo.com, they've already left a blank spot. So right up here, I'm going to put hot spots. All right, and then I'm going to go at the end of the country list, and I'm going to put DVAP. If you got a mega, put mega. If you got both, just put them both there. And then at the end of the group list, I'm going to put DVAP 220 for my 220. DVAP 440 for 440. And I don't have a mega, but if you do, just put mega 2220. I don't know if they make one, or mega 2 meters. I can't even type today. So let's just backspace that. 2 meters. So you hit OK. So now it defaults to the frequency. The first thing I want to do is I'm going to put my frequency of my DVAP 220, and that's 223.520. Now, over here, I'm going to put my call sign. This has nothing to do with gateway or anything like that. It's just on the display, it'll show that it's my call sign, W6GPS. Okay, now here's world region. Remember we put hotspots? That's kind of a major region we're going to be able to select later on. And down here I said DVAP. And then down here I put in DVAP 220. Now, this is the part that I had to figure out, but makes sense. Right up here it says call sign and gateway. That's really RPT1. Gateway is really RPT2. So for me, you're going to put direct, because that's what we're doing with a DVAP, is we're talking to it direct and we're receiving it direct. Don't worry about the offsets. That thing's all set to 0. Now then, I can change this to W6GPS 2220. Now I want to make another entry here for my my 450 DVAP, which is on a Raspberry Pi, so there's something a little bit different there. So the frequency I'm using there is 435.500. Tab over. This comes up here. I'm going to change the name to W6GPS 440. And it's like going to be a hotspot. It's a DVAP. It's a DVAP 440. Now with a, because I'm using the Raspberry Pi, some of these different digital voice access points use different methods. So what I have is W6 GPS on the B module, B, tab over here to W6 GPS, G for gateway. Now, some of the, like other devices, I don't know them all, have different ways of setting up your RPT1 and RPT2. So now that I have this file all ready to do, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to export the list to a file. And I'm going to go to the desktop, make it a little bit simpler, and I'll call it test. And it's going to have the proper extension. So when I go out of here, I've got this file that I called test. I'm just going to do a Control-C. I'm going to copy it. I've already taken my micro SD card. My little micro SD card right here is in an adapter. So I put it back into the computer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the right position. So I'll open up the card reader. So this is a Kenwood formatted card. And here's all the different settings. That's where I'm going to go to. And the RPT list. And you can see I have several of them already there. And then all I want to do is I'm going to grab that test file that I put together right here, test. Just going to put it inside, copy it over. Okay, once I copy it over, I take the card out, make sure the radio's off, put the card back in. Contacts up, turn the radio on. Now, because we exported the file, the radio configuration, all my settings for the radio haven't changed because I didn't write it to the radio using the Bluetooth or the tethering or anything like that. So basically what I've done is I've copied it into the radio on the SD card, and I'm going to import a repeater list only. And there's my test file. See that right there? Test. And it asks me what market it's for, and then it comes up. Radio's going to reboot. And then I use the down scroll button to go in here to go look at my repeater list. There's that where that's a hotspots. It was a DVAP and a DVAP 220. Go direct, and then I'm ready to go. And there we go. We're already set. So I hope that helps you to understand. Now I'm really a big proponent of the DR mode, and the reason is I can go in here. I can go to nearby repeaters. Once the GPS has a fix, I can get to the, and that's a good point. If you don't have a fix, it's not going to give you a near repeater. But when I can do the bottom multi-function key here, and I can go to repeater list, I can go to hotspots, DVAP, choose my DVAP for 220. And if I got my 440 going, I go to repeater list, hotspots, DVAP, and go to 440. And there's my W6 GPS 440, kind of the name that I gave that hotspot. So I hope that helps you understand it. Again, I love DR mode because you can choose, like for me, I can choose my repeaters very, very easily, and there's Chattanooga right there. I can go up here to local CQ, and I'm ready to go. So I hope that helps you understand that the editing, the key things to remember is edit the area, maybe edit the area, and then call it hotspots. If you have a DVAP, then you change it. Go back and just to reiterate, you're going to do edit area. And edit area, you've got some blanks here, and you put hotspot. The name, I just go to the end of the list. The world, you're going to start off editing world region, which is hotspot, country, and I call it DVAP, and then group. And this is where you put the different DVAP 440, DVAP 220, DVAP 2 meters. Now that we got our system all programmed, just a real quick recap on using the DVAP and the DR mode. Using the bottom toggle, you select the repeater list, and this says hotspots, DVAP and DVAP 220 direct. So then use the up button right here, the up button. What we want to do is go to reflector, link to a reflector, and we can do the input, or if there's a reflector already selected. So let's just do a reflector input. So you dial the encoder to, let's just say 14 Charlie. So when I key up, I get an echo back, and right there it says 14 Charlie. So remember, whenever you link to a reflector, you can't talk quite yet. You got to go to reflector, use reflector. Reflector, use reflector. So now you can talk on the reflector. W6 GPS, anybody around?
Yeah, K6JQ, looking for a radio check there.
Yeah, K6JQ, W6 GPS, doing another little demo video, so just need 10 seconds. Just tell me who you are and where you're located, and I'm demonstrating how to link reflectors using a DR mode with a DVAP.
Oh, very good. Yeah, name is Dana, located in what they call Cordelia, California, which is near Fairfield or Napa, California. And I, too, am speaking to you via DVAP, and my radio is a Nikon ID 31A, 31 Alpha. And in fact, I use DR mode myself. So, anyway, sounds good. Go ahead, K6JQ.
Okay, real fine. Well, thanks for the ops check. I was getting things all programmed here and was QSYing from 30 Charlie to 14 Charlie, and it just works real great. Thanks for your help. W6 GPS Chattanooga.
Have a great afternoon. Good weekend. And if you're watching the game on Sunday, I hope your team wins. K6JQ.
Okay. Roger, roger. W6 GPS clear. Anyway, it's just before Super Bowl. So, now then, next thing we can do here is go to reflector and unlink to the reflector. You key up.
Remote system unlinked.
You get an echo back that the remote system's been unlinked. I can go back up here to reflector, link to reflector. I can go back to 14 Charlie if I want, or if I want to, I can input my favorite one, which is 30 Charlie. So link to a reflector.
Remote system linked.
And you can see right down there that it's linked. And also you can see on the screen that it's linked to the reflector. Now remember, folks, you got to go back, reflector, and use reflector. So try to get that auto zoom in there. So if you need any other help, just send me an email at w6gps yahoo.com. And by the way, you can
WW1I, Grantham, New Hampshire.
And by the way, you can link to gateways, but that's a different topic for a different time. 73s from W6 GPS.